So what's funny is when you said you have people that say, I'm never retiring. In
Mhm.
that aspect, they're working hard and they have the drive and they love what they do and they're just going to keep working forever. In my experience, in my generation, the vibe is I'm never retiring because I don't think I'll ever be able to do it. And I don't know if you deal with a lot of people in younger generations looking that far ahead, but it just kind of feels the vibe that I'm getting right now from this generation is what's going to be there in 30, 40 years.
Mhm.
And what does that look like?
It's interesting that you say that. I have a sense that a lot of the younger people that I work with or have been introduced to or had any kind of conversation with, many of them had parents who went through the financial crisis in 2008 and saw them lose a great deal of money. And that gave them a mindset of being more cautious and saving more sooner or earlier than waiting a little bit longer. So in some ways, I've seen that some younger people are having I get introduced to a lot of my retirement age clients, and they say, "Can you talk to my kids?" And we'll have that conversation. So they're starting to put money aside sooner, not later. And I think they're getting comfortable with living off of some, but not all of their paycheck. And I guess that's really the conversation that it comes down to is, I mentioned at the beginning, is asking a person what their lifestyle costs, what they're spending. And that conversation typically goes, a lot of people don't have a good idea of that. Some people are good at budgeting and other people just, I don't know, the money comes in and goes out and I have enough every month. And so sometimes the conversation is just, what's your net paycheck? And that's the number that we have to try to figure out, how are we going to replace that? So with a younger person, if they're setting aside a good degree to their retirement plan, if they're setting aside, they're also getting comfortable with not 100% of their paycheck. And that's what I think is really just going through the same process I would with someone closer to retirement, but giving them an idea, of what kind of path that they're on. As you get closer and when you're further away, if I can do this visually, if you're further away and we're trying to get to a point, you have room for error. And as we get closer and closer to retirement, we have less room for error. So it's not a different process with a younger person. It's just that they have a lot more space in there. And as we get closer, we just want to make sure, are we more on point? We don't have to be as close to on target at first, but as time's passing by, that's what we want to measure. So that would be what I'd say to a young person is, get yourself in the ballpark. And then let's decide, which field we're actually going to be hitting to in order to retire.
Yeah, it's starting. And I know I mentioned that I don't know if I'll ever retire is kind of a thing going on. I kind of feel like it is almost said in jest, and I'm hoping it's more so said in jest, where just based on how everything has been going. Obviously we've gone through the pandemic when we've 2008 as well. We've seen a lot of financial misfortune and in our lives. So it feels again, we're far away from it right now. But it does feel like something that is distant. And like you said, you're exactly right. And that's how I feel, is I've lived through that and I've gone through, and now my mindset is we got to get it together. As much as my wife loves going to Starbucks, that Starbucks is tough, but I'm kind of the one finding myself reeling in our finances and trying to get everything in track because I've seen so much already that it's like, I want to be able to have something later on.
But it's interesting you bring up Starbucks. I think that when people, one of the reasons people don't come and see a financial planner is they're afraid that my job is to tell you spend too much and you have to cut out your spending. And I find I'm working with people who generally are more established in their life's journey, and their paycheck comes in and they're able to spend their paycheck. And I'm going to say that's your lifestyle. And so if you go to Starbucks every day and that's part of your lifestyle, we have to determine, is that sustainable beyond your working years? And if it is, that's great. And if it's not, then we have to have is it worth working a little bit longer so you can go to Starbucks for the rest of your life? Or would you like to retire a little sooner and spend a little bit less because you're not going to Starbucks? That's really the conversation that takes place. And I think that that's the value of a professional relationship. It isn't that there's one answer. There's a lot of different ways to get from here to there. And it's about prioritizing, and it's about understanding what you can do in order to accomplish, like I said, if Starbucks matters to your wife, we'll figure out a way to get that coffee cup filled. but there's some decisions that you'll have to make along the way to get there.
That's a very, very diplomatic answer. I'll go tell my wife and see how that goes. We have to have a conversation about the Starbucks.
If you liked our video today, please share. And if you have any questions or comments, let us know. And if you'd like to start a conversation, we'd love to talk to you at goodfinancial.com, and you can sign up for a conversation there and answer any questions you may have.